InDesign does footnotes very well. Here I'm looking at a book where we have a number of footnotes. There's one there, there's a long one there, and a short one there. And if you add a footnote in the middle of a story, it'll automatically increment all the numbers. Really great. Right here under Type menu, insert footnotes. But if you want to do endnotes, like say at the end of this chapter, if we'd rather have a section called notes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, InDesign doesn't do that. So what is the solution for the intrepid InDesign user? What I do is I use a free script by our friend Peter Carl, who just does incredible work with all sorts of free scripts for InDesign. You hear us talking about it all the time on InDesign Secrets. And this script is called, believe it or not, Convert Footnotes to Endnotes. It's got a little bit of explanation here. I'm going to show you how it works in this video. To get the script, go to this URL, and to download it, right-click and choose Save Link or Target As. Save it as a script called Foot to End and put it in your scripts panel, as I have already done in InDesign CS6, and it works in earlier versions as well. Go down to Utilities, Scripts, and in my Scripts folder, there it is, Foot to End. So what do you do? It's very simple. If you don't have anything selected in the document, double-clicking Foot to End will automatically convert all footnotes to endnotes, and it will put them at the end of every story. Let's just do one story, this one right here. So this is chapter 1. Let's zoom out so we can see what is threaded. In this document, I call it Art History Chunks because every chapter is a separate story. And we have a number of footnotes in this story. So with this story selected, I double-click Foot to End, and that's it. Did you see that the footnotes disappeared and the text reflowed? Let's zoom in a bit. And all of them have been moved down to the end of the story. It begins with the word notes. It's using the most recent style. And then there's apparently only 3 footnotes in this chapter, and it automatically added styles here, as he explains in his directions, called endnote. And then apparently there's one for no number. That's if you have a footnote that's 2 paragraphs. You don't want the second paragraph to be, a separate one. So that's what that's for. And you can, of course, edit these styles as you see fit. Then there is another style for the source of the note. And I want you to look at something. If I select this and go to the Edit in Story Editor, what are these things? These are cross-references. In fact, they're cross-reference destinations. That is actually what's happening behind the scenes, is that Peter has converted the footnotes to cross-references as endnotes. If we look at the cross-reference panel, here under Window, type in Tables, Cross-References, there they are right here. So if I select one and say, go to the source, you can see it's selected right there. And if we look at that in the Story Editor, there it is. It is a cross-reference source that goes to a cross-reference destination. And what that means is that they work like cross-references. When you export this to PDF or you export it to EPUB, these will be linked, which is pretty cool. The only thing that they are not is that they're not automatically updated. If you try to add another endnote, it won't automatically number them. You'd have to start all over and redo your footnotes. So it's a job that you save for the end. When all your footnotes are done, convert them to endnotes and edit the format for the paragraph styles that the endnotes use and maybe for the endnote reference as well. Let me close this. And I just want to show you one other example that if your book is like this one, and you have one long story that connects all of the chapters, as this one does. There's only 3 chapters here. And then you run footnote to endnote. Let's actually deselect all. There we go. Double click it. It adds the endnotes to the very end of the story. And so if your chapters were all threaded together, then you would not get endnotes at the end of every chapter. You would get endnotes at the end of the book. So if you want them at the end of every chapter, you're going to have to split the chapters into individual stories first before you run Peter Carl's footnote to endnote script.